When I was 26, I never thought I'd end up running a YouTube channel about relationships, psychology, and human emotions. My name is Emily Parker, and I started this journey purely out of curiosity. It began one evening when I was sitting in my small apartment in Portland, Oregon, watching videos about body language and communication. The hosts made it sound so simple that you could decode people's thoughts from how they moved, smiled, or talked. But I always wondered, were those facts actually true? I began reading books and observing people around me. I was fascinated by how different women behaved depending on their moods, comfort, or confidence levels. I wasn't trying to stereotype anyone, but rather to understand the psychology behind attraction and emotion, safely and respectfully. What I found surprised even me. The first thing I learned was that women are far more intuitive than we think. My best friend, Samantha, could sense when something was off with someone before they even said a word. One time, we were at a coffee shop, and she whispered, "That couple behind us is arguing, but not with words." I turned around, and she was right. Their silence was full of tension. The man looked at his cup instead of her eyes, while the woman's fingers tapped nervously on the table. That was when I realized that women often feel emotions before they fully understand them. Later, when I started researching more deeply, I came across studies confirming that emotional awareness, empathy, in particular, is something women tend to express earlier and more naturally than men. But here's the twist. It doesn't mean women are always emotional. Instead, they are simply more connected to subtle emotional signals, tone, energy, and micro-expressions. I shared this in one of my early YouTube videos. The feedback I received shocked me. Many men commented, "That explains why my girlfriend knows I'm upset even when I say nothing. And, so she's not reading my mind, she's reading my behavior." That was the first time I realized how misunderstood attraction and emotion really are. Another fascinating truth I uncovered was how differently women show attraction. Movies often portray it as obvious, smiles, hair flips, or playful laughs. But in real life, women often express interest through comfort and curiosity, not performance. For example, I once interviewed a young woman named Laura, who said, "When I like someone, I don't flirt like people think. I just ask them a lot of questions. I want to know who they really are." That stuck with me. Attraction wasn't just about looks, it was about connection. When I asked men about what drew them to women, most said confidence, kindness, and honesty. When I asked women the same question, the top answers were security, sincerity, and humor. It made me think, maybe attraction isn't mysterious at all. It's just misunderstood because we expect it to follow the rules of movies, not emotions. Then there's the myth that women are attracted only to looks or success. I found that women respond more to energy, not money, not status, but presence. If someone listens without distraction, makes them feel heard, and respects their boundaries, that's what stands out. Once, during one of my social experiments for a video, I asked both men and women to describe the moment they felt attracted to someone. One woman, Jessica, said, "It was when he remembered my dog's name. I knew he was paying attention." That single sentence said more about attraction than 100 dating shows ever could. As my videos gained traction, I received messages from women around the country, from college students to mothers to career professionals, all sharing how misunderstood they felt by society. Many said they were tired of being labeled as too emotional, when in reality, they just cared deeply. One woman named Nora, a schoolteacher from Texas, wrote, "I wish people knew that caring doesn't mean weakness. It's strength with softness." That message became one of my channel's most shared quotes. Another truth that surprised my audience was how women remember emotional details far longer than physical ones. I once asked my viewers to recall their most memorable compliment. Almost every woman said something emotional. "You make people feel comfortable, you inspire me," or, "I feel safe around you." Meanwhile, physical compliments faded quickly. It taught me that, for many women, attraction and connection live in the emotional layer, not surface appearances. Of course, attraction isn't the same for everyone. I also learned that personality type, upbringing, and experiences shape how each woman expresses herself. For example, introverted women might avoid eye contact even when interested, while extroverted ones might seem friendly to everyone, not just someone they like. That's why reading signs can be tricky. Context is everything. Then there's communication. I used to think women just wanted to talk more than men, but that's not it. They simply use conversation as connection. One afternoon, I was interviewing a married couple, Lydia and Mark, who'd been together for 15 years. Mark said, "I used to get frustrated when she wanted to talk about everything. Now I realize it's her way of staying close." Lydia smiled and added, "Talking isn't about solving problems. It's about feeling less alone." That moment went viral on my channel. People said it changed the way they saw communication in relationships. As I continued exploring these truths, I discovered another overlooked fact. Many women find emotional intelligence more attractive than physical strength. They're drawn to calm confidence, not arrogance. Women value safety, not just physical safety, but emotional safety. When a man listens without judgment, it builds trust, which in turn builds attraction. I remember one of my favorite interviews with Rachel, a psychologist. She said, attraction for women starts in the mind. When we feel seen, we start to open up. When we feel respected, we start to trust. That's when attraction happens naturally. That changed my perspective forever. Some of the most surprising moments came when older women shared their wisdom. A 62-year-old viewer named Margaret wrote to me saying, "What shocks people most is that attraction doesn't fade with age. It just matures. You start valuing peace, kindness, and laughter more than looks." Her message inspired a whole episode titled, "The Timeless Side of Attraction." It became one of the most heartwarming discussions I've ever hosted. Through hundreds of stories and interviews, one message became clear: women don't fall for perfection, they fall for authenticity. Pretending to be someone else never lasts. But honesty, kindness, and consistency, that's what leaves an impression. As my channel grew, I began receiving letters from men saying the videos helped them rebuild broken relationships or understand their partners better. One man named Adam wrote, "I stopped trying to impress her and started listening." She said it was the first time she felt truly understood. Those words reminded me why I started in the first place. In time, I learned that attraction is not a game, it's a reflection of who we are and how we treat others. Women notice sincerity, they value consistency, and they remember respect more than compliments. The truth about attraction is not shocking because it's scandalous, it's shocking because it's so simple yet so often ignored. As I sit here today, 3 years later, my small curiosity project has turned into a community of over 2 million subscribers who care deeply about emotional understanding. We've proven together that studying attraction doesn't have to be shallow or inappropriate, it can be meaningful, insightful, and even healing. Every story I share, every interview I conduct, reminds me that women are not mysteries to be solved, they're people to be understood. And that understanding, not manipulation, is the real secret behind attraction. So when people ask me now, what's the most shocking fact about women's attraction? I always smile and say, it's that women aren't drawn to the extraordinary, they're drawn to the genuine. Because in a world full of noise, being real will always stand out the most. And that's the truth that changed everything, not just for my viewers, but for me.